Hello, everyone. Welcome back to KJ Around the World. I just wanted to hop in today to do a quick video, just focusing a little bit on expectations versus reality when it comes to traveling abroad. Now, if you are new here, this is a channel for women, especially Black women who love to travel, love solo travel, love traveling with the girls. And I just want you to know this is a space for you. I have lots of tips to share, lots of travel information to share. And I'm going to start off by just incorporating a little bit of my own experience here when it comes to travel and some of the expectations that I've had versus the reality of the situation. And let me start off by saying social media is a lie. Social media is a lie. Like, I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen pictures of places and, show up and I'm just like, what is this? Right? So it's important for us to be mindful when we are traveling that things might not be as they may seem, things might not look the way they look on social media. And so you just have to really manage your expectations and be open to trying new things, right? So, to start, I think one of the main things that we need to make sure that we are managing when it comes to our expectations is the cost. Because sometimes we see people, they're bopping here, there, and everywhere, right? They've got this trip this week, this trip next week, and we're not being mindful of the fact that, first of all, they might be using points, right? Whether it's points they got through their credit card company. Maybe they've got some type of benefit through their job. There are people who are flight attendants or they work for a specific airline and they get certain perks. And we're here like, hey, I want to take this trip too, not realizing we're going to have to pay the full price. So it's really important for us to think about this and manage those expectations so that when it comes to planning a certain trip or going to a certain place, we're not getting there and we're like, oh, this is the reality of what it is, right? I think one of the main things that comes to mind for me was last year I was looking to go to Miami, right? And I'm like, oh, Miami's going to be fun, it's going to be cool, not realizing I was going at the worst time of the year because that's when all these college students are going to be out for spring break. And guess what they're going to be doing? Going to Miami for spring break. So the prices are through the roof, right? Also, not considering a certain spot in Miami, like there's a specific hotel. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go to that one. They've got a rooftop pool. I don't know what's going on with me today. They've got a rooftop pool. Everything looks great. You've got views, like views, right? And something else, they have like some of the most magnificent restaurants in Miami. And I'm here like, okay, yeah, the price is going to be great. It's going to be budget friendly. Yeah, no. Be mindful when it comes to cost. You are looking at different ways that you can travel. There's so many things that you can do now when it comes to travel. I know people are doing Airbnb. Some of us try to stay far away from Airbnb, but I know some people who are doing Airbnb and they love it and it works for them. But there are also people who are doing house sitting and that also works for them. So it's really important for you to be mindful of what's out there when it comes to saving you money or helping you to budget when it comes to traveling so that you're not spending all your money for accommodations or all your money just trying to get to your destination, right? Something else we need to think about when it comes to expectations versus reality is the weather, right? Sometimes I know people will go to the Caribbean and they're like, yes, I can't wait for the sun and the beach and all these amazing things. Then they get there and it's raining the entire week and they're like, what is this? Like, is this life? What happened to my beautiful tropical vacation? Not realizing that they probably visited during hurricane season. B, they probably got there just on a really off week, right? And something that I can tell you about visiting islands like Antigua, it will rain in the morning and in the afternoon it's Susie Sunshine, right? or it will rain and the sun is still out. I mean, like, still out. So don't take it as, well, I just want it to be super sunny all day, a breeze, because it might not work that way, right? Yes, that Instagrammer or that that influencer on Instagram, she has her post, she's on the beach in the sand, soaking it up, and sun is shining. That doesn't mean like that was her experience the entire time she was on that trip. So, something for you to consider, manage those expectations when it comes to the weather, because it's not going to always be as it seems when you saw those posts on social media. Okay. Something else I want you to really, really think about, and when we went to Italy with our family several years ago, it was something that we learned quick. um, crowds, crowds. If you are going to travel to Europe during a certain time of year, just prepare yourself for the crowds. Like, don't go and then you're complaining, oh my God, the crowds. Yes, because you decided to visit in July when everyone and their mother has shown up to Europe. So be mindful of the time that you go. Even us visiting in May, thinking like, okay, yeah, the crowds won't be so bad. There were still some crowds, right? Florence, it wasn't so bad, but Rome, I mean, like people everywhere, right? So just manage your expectations when it comes to crowds. I know you want those shots in front of, the Trevi Fountain. Get up early, perhaps 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, and go. I'm sure you want those shots at the Spanish Steps. Get up early and go. There's literally a train station that drops you off right there, so you can get up at 5 in the morning, head out, get off the train, hop, get those, shots of the Spanish Steps and keep it moving, right? I found it so funny that we went out one morning super early. I mean, not 5 o'clock, but we went out, I believe it was about 7 a.m. And we were out and we're thinking like, oh, okay, no one's going to be out. There were some people out, but considering that we did all the things that we did that morning and walked back, and it was like people on top of people on top, and I'm just like, I would have a nervous breakdown. It was a lot of people, right? So it is a bright idea to get up, go early, take those shots that you want to take, right? But just be mindful that you are also following along like this same people who make these Instagram shots, right? Like they're showing up like, hey, I'm, at the Spanish Steps, not realizing, the audience isn't realizing like, yeah, there's like 10 other people waiting to get that picture too, or there are 10, 20, 30 other people who are literally outside of the shot and it's like a crowd of people there. So just be mindful that there will be crowds. Manage your expectations when it comes to crowds, because you are going to see people there. There's going to be a lot of people there. I mean, these are historical sites, these are travel destinations that people have on their bucket list, places that people want to go to. So just be mindful that you're not going to find any of these places empty unless you go at perhaps 3 in the morning. But just manage your expectations when it comes to crowd, because that beautiful picture that you saw on some influencers Instagram page is not going to be the situation when you show up. There's going to be people, lots and lots of people. Okay, something else I want you to consider when it comes to managing those expectations, it's the airport. I don't know how many times I've flown and like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I'm there like 3 hours ahead. Like I get to the airport 3, 4 hours ahead. Like I do it. I don't care. I don't care who doesn't like it. I don't care who's not down for it. I want to get there. I want to relax, get through security, eat my food, take a nap, no stress, no problems, right? But just be mindful, if you're that person who wants to show up an hour before, just be mindful. This isn't the 90s or, the 80s where you just show up and they're like, okay, you're on your flight. Like there are lines. And I mean, I've been in lines that have lasted 1 hour, right? Or more. So just be mindful that when you get to the airport, not so early, there are things that you're going to have to deal with, right? You're going to have to deal with TSA. or whatever the security is in that specific country. You're going to have to deal with the ticketing people. Sometimes they might like give you an extra screening, right? Like I thought I was doing great coming through Helsinki airport. Like, okay, yes, I'm all set. Like literally went through security like so fast, put my bag through the screener. They're like, gotta check your bag, right? Now, if I wasn't super early to the airport, and I mean super early to the airport, imagine I would have probably missed my flight. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's Helsinki, like they took about 10 minutes, so it was no time. But imagine if this was a super busy airport like JFK, right? And instead of it being 10 minutes in front of everyone, they take you, to the back or something, and they're like, hey, what's this? What's this in your bag? And et cetera, et cetera. Just be mindful that you want to get to the airport at a reasonable time so that you're not rushing and, missing your flight, perhaps. Last but not least, the food. Now, sometimes the food can be a hit, and sometimes the food can be a miss. I mean, like a real miss. I have gone to places, and I mean places that are like popular. They're like, oh, the food's this, the food's that. And then I'm like, the food is not it. Right? So it's important to manage those expectations when you go to certain destinations because you're thinking like, oh my gosh, these people are famous for their pasta, or these people are famous for this dish or that dish, and not realizing that A, propaganda is a thing, B, people on social media do lie, and sometimes they're being paid to eat at this place or to share this place, and unfortunately they give you misinformation. And also sometimes people have different palates. What might taste good to you might not taste good to me, right? What might be the cat's meow to you might not be the same for me. So that's something else I really want you to think about, is managing your expectations when it comes to food, because you might not always like the things that you are going to eat, right? I'm one of those people. I'm always curious about food. I'm always curious about trying new things. So even if something might not hit, I will still try it and I will still give it a chance because I know that this is something different and something I might want to share with other people and just say, hey, try at your own risk type of thing. Um, if I don't like it, I'm not going to say that I liked it, right? Like there are certain places I went to in Tallinn and I was just like, meh. And then there are places I went to in Tallinn and I was just like, can I just take a flight here for the food, right? Like the food was so good, I was willing to go back just for the food. So I think it's important for us, as travelers to be honest about, our experiences that we have when we go to places, because it doesn't really help the consumer. It doesn't really help fellow travelers who go there and try these things. And they're quite disappointed because they're thinking like, hey, this person said these things were great, awesome. Then you try it and you're like, they lied. So just be mindful of that. Also, be mindful of again, what you see on social media. Again, social media can be a lie sometimes, and people can use whatever tools, whatever words, whatever they say to make you think something is one way, and it's really not. So just be mindful of that. When you travel, walk in with an open mind, walk in with an open heart. Think of your travel experience as just something that will help to shape you into the person that you are. Don't walk in with expectations that things are going to be the way that they are back home in your home country. Things might be different, right? Meal times might be different. Food might not be the same. Certain locations might not be the same. Obviously, they might not use the same currency as you. So just always walk into your travel experiences with an open mind, with an open heart, and just thinking about how this can help you to grow, help you to be a better person, help you to pass on things to your own children and your own family and friends that might be helpful to them, right? So that is it for me today. If you are curious about other things I might have on the channel, check out the videos that I've posted on the end screen. Also, make sure that you're liking, subscribing, and all those good things, because it tells YouTube that you are interested in this video and the topic and you want to see more of it, right? It's been great. Love to see you. Take care. Bye, guys.